terrible sugar. It has been dried beyond drying. Now all the fibers are all broken and crunched up. Goodness me. CV, if you can send me a signal that it's working, that'd be great. Okay, so we're all right. We can be heard. Awesome. That's what I do. Because it's what I do. Oh. Yeah, I am. Hello, Alan. I think we lost a lot of signal there. Whether or not nobody wanted to listen, I don't think anybody wanted to listen about the books that I was talking about, Alan. I completely lost signal. It was horrendous. Anyway. Yeah, I know, me too. So anyway, I hope I'm coming across a bit clearer now and not buffering as much. Hey, hang on, love. I'm gonna give you Oh, sorry. Oh no. Oh dear. Oh dear. Yeah, we got cough again. The signal today has just been dire. I apologise. I don't know why it's behaving the way it is. There, that looks a bit better. Oh, come on. There we are. Sorry everyone. Signal is terrible. Sorry about that everybody. I have to go and sort stuff. I knew I would be doing. It's one of them types of days. I'm here, I'm there, I'm absolutely everywhere. Yes, I'm so sorry. It's just one of those things. It just keeps dropping in and out, man. Yes, there was. There was someone at the door. But unfortunately, what should I say, it is all sorted now. We are fine. We are at the races, so they say. So yeah, we were discussing a book called Noah's Castle, but I keep getting cut off, so I can't be bothered to talk about it anymore. Only that if you're interested, I have a long form video all about the book Noah's Castle, and it's well worth a visit because it is a fabulous book. One of my moderators is on here at the moment. His name is Mr. Alan Aspinall. He is a very famous writer, and he wrote the Lucy Saga. And who or what is Lucy? She is absolutely terrifying, and she's always watching you. and it's called The Fading Light. Is Alan's books, and they are absolutely brilliant. There are 5 of them. There is one on the way, another one to go with the saga, and quite frankly, if you fancy reading them, you can find them on Kindle, and they are absolutely terrifying as horror goes. I think you will have ice water in your veins when you're reading them because they are absolutely terrifying. And Lucy's a special kind of gal. She does very bad things to very good humans, and she is utterly terrifying. Is Lucy? I wouldn't want to cross her. I probably wouldn't live to tell the tale. But yeah, so if you fancy reading any of those, The Dying Light, The Fading Light, not The Dying Light, The Fading Light, it is available on Amazon, on Kindle. Now we just have these. Yeah. No. Oi, can't say that. Naughty. Oh dear me. You are a bad influence today. Alan, you are a bad influence. I don't know. So today we're doing more ironing, because that's what we do. I was talking, as I say, about books. For some reason, every time I try to talk about them, I get getting cut off. So I've just given up. If you want to check out the long form video of Noah's Castle, and also the long form videos that are up regarding the Fading Light saga, they are all up there. They're amazing. What was that, love? Yeah, just massive internet problems, man. I just don't know today. It's just like the gremlins are in the system and they're just like chewing on the wires, man. They're doing something. Chewing the wires. Absolutely. Little monsters. So much fun. There we go. At least we're getting somewhere today now. Just exhausting, isn't it? But you're all worn out just watching me, man. But the more we have on, and the more that subscribe, and the more that give us thumbs up, so the more we go up the ladder, and the more we're noticed. So thank you very much, my dears. Just behave yourself, because Alan has the power of destiny over the use on the computer. Don't you, my love? Oh. Hey, wow, stranger things have happened, son. if they want to probably see where they're walking so they don't miss out when they're on the tour. I forgot another shirt. I've left a shirt. Dearie me, how remiss. How could I have missed this shirt? Naughty, naughty. That's not like me. Dearie, dearie, dearie me. Not concentrating. These are big shirts as well. Yeah, ghost walks. Alan is a ghost hunter as well as a famous writer. So he does the fading light tours. As well as everything else. A man of many talents is Alan. He has the ability to talk to ghosts and he can see them as well and write about them. I think you know way more about ghosts, mate, than I will ever know. I don't know. You're naughty today. I know, close enough. I know. I submerge myself in horror. I love the 1970s and the 1980s so much because back then anything when it was just like being in Woolworths and allowed to go free range on the pick and mix. That's how horror was back then. It was just so many fabulous, brilliant stories, and the artwork that was on the book covers is just phenomenal. And that's really lovely to see that certain new writers that are coming through are actually making an effort now with the book covers, and they're starting to realise that, like what we've always said, that the content of the book is just as important as the book cover, and the two generally should go hand in hand. And for a really, really long time, I think publishing lost its way a little bit with the way that books should look You know, I mean, you want to sell these things, so if you want to sell them, you've got to make them look sellable. And, you know, part and parcel of that is making sure that your book cover is sort of like a bit of a headline grabber. You know, it's like someone's going to look at it and just think, I have to take that book home. And I don't know, I think after years of ho-hum kind of sales, if you like, regarding books and stuff, it's like the penny's finally dropping again, and people are thinking, decent artwork, it's helping sell the books. And also, we're just, for a long time, we've been looking for new writers to come along, and I don't know, maybe the time wasn't right for them, maybe the stories just hadn't popped into their heads for them to write about. But it just seems that we've had such a good time in the 70s and 80s, and then in the 90s things sort of like got a little bit stale, and then it really went off the boil in the early 2000s, and nothing of any merit was coming out, and we were really solely relying on the writers of yesteryear. You know, I mean, I'm not saying that they're all yesteryear. I mean, some of them from way back when, like Stephen King, is still writing, which is great, but he's not going to be around forever. And we need new writers. We need exciting new writers coming through the ranks that, you know, are interested in telling stories. And it's nice that I had the opportunity to meet Alan and get to read his works, and I love them. But we need more like Alan. We really do, to come along, because there's a big gap in the industry. And, you know, if we want to put England back on the map of being the horror capital, which it was, you know, we just need more writers. Come on, kids. The future is yours. Go out and grab it. Write them stories. Make them horrifically gory and utterly terrifying, and you will have customers for life. You really will. It's vital that we don't lose that skill set of writing. You know, people still want to read books. We just want to read good quality books, and there is a gap in the market for it. I can tell you that. You're aiming for people within my age group, my demographic, that love horror and have the wherewithal to go out and purchase your books. So if you want to know where your demographic, your sales point is, you're looking at a I mean, ridiculous as it sounds, I bought a book recently. When it first went on the market, it was worth 85 pence, and they're so rare to find that I actually spent £25 on it to purchase the book. And bearing in mind at the time of its printing, it was worth 85p. But it is a thirst edition corgi version of the horrific bunny killing novel, The Folly. I mean, the bunnies are the killers in this book, you know. The countryside of Frickley will never be quite the same again, mostly because the residents of Frickley have been eaten by the rabbits. So there you go. And the artwork on the book is just lovely, as is the contents of the story. You know, I can honestly say if Chaz and Dave, I suppose, were talking about rabbits, I think that maybe might take on a very darker tone. Okay. I have to turn this thing. There we are, and then we need to go here, and just how many did we do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay. There we go. Okay, just gonna move you there. Press that and edit every time. I always forget that in order to print, usually turn the printer on. It might help. It is Woolies is, but that's what the 1970s, 1980s was like, you know, with horror. It was literally like the pick and mix at Woolies, and you know, you were just spoiled, absolutely spoiled for choice. Whoever said I could cut in a straight line clearly never saw me cut anything in a straight line, because I can't. Okay, that's those chopped in half. I'm back again. I have to keep flying in and out. Literally. Okay. Hang on. Should be there. Right. All organised. Oh, it will be in a minute. Okay, yeah, we're out. I thought I might be. Oh, come on, out the cupboard. Oh, there we go. We will be organised before we know, before your very eyes. There we go. Ah, right at the bottom. And organisation is what we tend to do. We get there in the end. I thank you for my thumbs up, my dears. It is appreciated. Oh, bugger. I don't want to stick everything. Organisation. June 2025. Forgotten. I was writing something down and I forgot. Okay. Right. Here we are. Stripy shirts are in this season. Hey, hello, hello, hello. I'm terribly sorry. Sometimes life gets in the way of best laid plans. There we go. Oh, there's another pocket on that side too. Another customer. I am always so busy. There we go. Height and fashion is what we are. Some people like to think they are anyway. No, but use for them. No, they're not. Awful. Yeah. Life's never boring here. Just seem to be concentrating a little bit today. Have we got some more people in and we can start talking about horror? That would be good, wouldn't it? I know I seem a little preoccupied, but it's all for good reason, darlings. I am working after all. Strange fashion. So anyway, we were talking about horror books and that there is a market, a very big gap in the market for people to come along, young talent, any talent at this rate, and we're starting to realise that the book covers have got to be as beautiful as the content of the story. And I think it's nice that that's finally been addressed and recognised and turned into what I hope are going to be the writers of the future. I did a book review over the weekend about spiders. If you like spiders, if you like animal attack style novels, and it was about a giant spider roaming around Northumbria, heading towards Newcastle, as you do, and he's eating students left, right and centre. And he doesn't decide to just stay in Newcastle. He decides that he's going to go on holiday, and he goes all the way out to Texas. And that's where things get very interesting indeed. And even there is even a homage to the late great H.G. Wells, the godfather of science fiction and horror and apocalyptic horror. To say, the premise of the story is about spiders and almost an invasion of spiders, if you like. And the way I use H.G. Wells in the story is, you know, War of the Worlds. Well, all I will say is the chances of anything coming from Mars is 1,000,000 to 1, they say, and still they come. And what's the one thing in the universe that almost 99.9% of people are absolutely terrified of? And that would be spiders. So if you are looking for a new horror book by a writer called Barnaby Walters, and you fancy reading about spiders and this terrifying novel all about spiders, then give the long form video that we've done. Oops, caught my nail then. Not nice. Fortunately, the iron wasn't on it too long, so I didn't burn myself that badly. But just bad enough. So yeah, if you fancy doing an animal attack spider horror novel, then check out my long form video all about Scuttle by Barnaby Walters. It is absolutely terrifying, is that book, and is a young and upcoming writer, British writer as well. I believe he works at the or works for or does something with Waterstones, the book publishing and the book store people. So, and this is his first horror novel that he's ever written, and I just thought it was absolutely stunning. Totally blew me away. As far as horrors on a spider, the subject of spiders, I just like, wow, could not get enough. And I literally cannot wait to see what subject he's going to choose next. Yeah, absolutely cannot wait to see what he's going to write about next. It was such an exciting novel. It really was, and you can get it absolutely everywhere, up and down the countryside, and it's for sale everywhere. And it's called Scuttle, and it's all about spiders, and it is terrifying and fantastic and marvellous, and it's everything that you want in a horror novel, and just a ton of fun, because let's face it, that's what it should be. It should be fun. Goodness me. Whew. I think I might need to change the water. Do excuse me, I'll be back in a moment. to everyone who's just joined us. We're talking about horror. And we are discussing artwork on horror books. And we're talking about a book that I literally just finished reading called Scuttle by Barnaby Walters. And if you fancy learning all about it, I did a long form video on Saturday, and it's well worth a visit. It really is. It doesn't give away too much of the plot, but I can also tell you it's written as a young adult book. Well, I loved it. I did. I just thought it was just fantastic. It's the shot in the arm that the British industry needed for a flipping long time in horror. And I can honestly say, more please, Barnaby Walters. We need more of your fabulous work. We really, really do. Absolutely amazing book. What's not to like? Spiders, teenagers being munched by the spiders, and then the spider just deciding that he was done with Northumbria and Newcastle, and he was going to go to Texas, and he was going to go on holiday and go out there, and that's where things, as I say, go absolutely bananas. If you think about a 1950s B movie with a ginormous spider on the run, you know, you're in for a treat, because that's what you're gonna get. Absolutely glorious. It really is a lot of fun. It's like the other one that I finished before I did that, called Slither, about, amazingly, man-eating worms, that sewer worms that are living in the sewers of London, but not just in the sewers of London. They've decided that they're going to go on a bit of a road trip around the United Kingdom, and they crop up in various places and start munching and crunching the local residents of villages and towns and coastal towns. Anywhere that's got access to water, you will find a sewer worm. And the thing is, all the sewer worms are male. So where's Queenie Bob's hiding out? Where is the queen worm or queen worms? Because there may be more than one. There must be, because there are millions of these little critters. They're up and down the countryside, and they like to eat us. We seem to be no longer the apex predator. No, it's very much written in the vein of the rats. In fact, I'd like to think James Herbert was so flipping good at what he did producing the rats that everybody after that, when they were doing an animal attack style novel based in the United Kingdom, where we're being munched by, there's so many things to think of. You know, James had the rats, Guy N. Smith had the crabs, John Halkin had sewer worms, jellyfish and caterpillars. Sean Hudson had slugs. Barnaby Walters has got spiders. And there's just so many interesting ways that the British citizens can meet their demise via animals having a munch. You've got David Ann, who, if the mad dogs and the rabies didn't get us, then the bunny rabbits down in the village of Frickley in the Folly were going to eat us instead. And then, we can go even more bonkers than that, and we can turn around to Nick Sharman, and the pussycats are going to eat us all alive. You know, how many interesting, gloriously wonderful ways can the United Kingdom meet its end by being munched by the animals? I mean, James Patterson and Michael Ledwidge in 2012 had the entire world descend into ultimate chaos because the animals went rogue one day and turned the whole world into a zoo where we, us, as in us humans, were the prime food source. And while the governments all retreated to their bunkers, we had to fight the good fight with the animals on the surface, losing the apocalypse. In the apocalypse, it was such an interesting premise. That would be how we all went. Mother Nature finally turned around and bit back. So that one came out in 2012. It's called Zoo. In fact, they made a television series and it went out on Netflix. And it was fantastic. A lot of fun. I mean, maybe you want to go to Scotland and meet up with what's his name? Michael Logan. Yeah, Michael Logan. Perhaps you fancy going all the way to Scotland and visiting Michael Logan's cows, and they've all been infected with a rogue bioweapon that escaped from a lab. And before, obviously, the cows will kill you, they turn into these sneezing, blubbering, slobbering, creepy animals that want to hunt you to death and then eat you. And I don't know why it's so hysteric with funny, but it is. And it won the Terry Pratchett Award for most original mad zombie cow novel. And it is absolutely hilarious and well worth a visit. Especially when the kamikaze squirrels they're on a mission, man. They received the memo. They went on a mission, and these squirrels really are after your nuts. And there's an unfortunate scene with a rabid poodle that just goes utterly berserk, and the only way you can escape him is by attacking him with a bottle of Iron Brew. And if you don't know what Iron Brew is, it's a bright orange fruit drink that comes in a can, soda can, a bottle of pop, if you will. And it's like Lucasade and Tango got together and created Iron Brew. And it supposedly looks like rust. So why you would want to drink that in the first place, I don't know. But some people enjoy Iron Brew. And it's not one I'm particularly a fan of. I don't think the poodle was either. But the poodle, I suppose if you're in a tight place and you're fighting for survival and there's a zombified rabid dog after you, and the only thing you've got to hand is a bottle of Iron Brew, then I guess that's your weapon of choice. But yeah, that's a journalist, a young teenage boy, and a survivor from the original zombie cow outbreak at the local abattoir are the only people between us and utter annihilation. Even France is watching us with great intent, making sure we don't escape down the Channel Tunnel by the threat of preparing to blow us up with nuclear missiles. The one I'm looking forward to is After Apocalypse Cow. It was done in the vein of World War Z, but they called it World War Moo, and it's where the cows sort of like form a military alliance with the rest of the countryside. And I know this sounds absolutely mad. And off the cows go, ready to go into battle with the United Kingdom and the rest of Europe, along with the local country and wildlife association. Yeah, squirrels, rabbits, badgers, hedgehogs, you name it, they're all battle ready. It's just insane, and I cannot wait to read that. In fact, I'm hoping that might be one of my books that I have for the summer, is World War Moo, because it looks so funny. It's me. It's the kind of books that I enjoy. Lots of shirts in here today, haven't we? Still keeps me busy. Okay, 6, 7, there's about 10. Gracious me, so busy today. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading World War Moo. And maybe you really like absolute classic horror by a lady called Daphne du Maurier, and she wrote the ultimate classic, The Birds, about a little seaside resort down in Cornwall, and everything was fine, but it was going to be a very cold winter. And we deal with a man called Nate and his family, who are besieged by local birds. And it's not just one bird, it's thousands of birds. And even birds that would not normally ever work together or roost together because they hate each other. You know, the bigger birds, the hawks, the goshawks, the seagulls, owls, they all prey on the little ones. Well, this time they weren't preying on anything other than humans. And it's the haunting, terrifying tale of one man called Nate and his entire family as they are besieged with birds night and day over a period of a weekend. And they're hoping to hear something from London or anywhere, because this is a tiny little remote fishing village in Cornwall. And at first they're getting messages out of Whitehall in London, and eventually the messages get less and less, and there's less news being reported on the radio, because you've got to remember, this is the 1940s that it's set, in the 1940s, so televisions weren't widely available, but everybody had a radio, and everyone relied on the radio to bring them news up and down on what was happening in the country. And this is after the war's finished, so it's late 40s, early 50s, and the war's over, but a new war is about to be unleashed upon mankind. And what we don't know is it only the United Kingdom that's being affected by the birds attacking the humans and basically pecking us to death, or has it happened all over the world? And that's sort of left a little bit ambiguous by Daphne, deliberately, because I think she's left it open to interpretation, open to our imagination. And it is absolutely, utterly terrifying. And I know Alfred Hitchcock turned it into an absolutely fabulous movie starring Tippi Hedren, who happens to be Melanie Griffith's mother, in case you didn't know. And it is just a fabulous, fabulous film. But the book, or the short novella that it's based on, is, quite frankly, absolutely terrifying. And you can hear the desperation in the characters as they're talking throughout the story. And Nate's desperately trying to shore up the house and protect the children. And as the story's ending, and they're going in for the third night, because he's done over 3 nights. And when they're going into the third night of being under the barrage of the birds, and there are millions of these birds, there's absolutely no let up at all in the attack. It's relentless, and it's night after night. And they will work and absolutely will stop at nothing to get through into this little stone cottage, and they're hammering down on the roof of the house, and they're just like missiles, like bombs dropping. And Nate knows when he goes out into the garden in the morning, there'll be like dead birds stacked right up under the windows, past the windows, because the birds realise that in order to get in and break through the roof, because it's a stone roof, stone cottage, and the windows are all boarded up, and the birds are just like one job, and that's to break through at all costs. And it doesn't matter how many of them die in the process. They realise that if they keep hitting it again and again and again, they will eventually get through, and they will eventually get to the humans that are on the inside. And Nate knows this, and he knows that it's only a matter of time before they come through and they get to him, and they kill him and his family. And it's just how long how long can he hold on, and how long is this episode gonna last with the birds, and it's just left so ambiguous. And it's the third night, and he's sort of like sat listening to the birds just bombarding the entire home where he and his family are hiding, and he's down to his last cigarette and his pack of cigarettes, and he's like, his final thoughts are, when I go out tomorrow, I'll call down to the local shop, grocery shop, and I'll pick up some tobacco so I can make some more cigarettes. And it's like, but there's nothing in the shop anyway. So I think at that point, hasn't it given up? And it was never made clear, but I just think it's such a good way. Absolutely terrifying. I mean, imagine night after night if you are having to listen to the local wildlife going berserk outside your house, dive bombing the home in the hope that they'll break through and get through to you and your family. That's pure nightmare fuel right there and then. So yeah, if you've not read Daphne du Maurier's The Birds, it's only a short story. Give it a whirl. You'll love it. The BBC also have done many audio versions of the story in case you just wanted to listen to it. And I think one of them was narrated by Peter Capaldi, who you might know played the Doctor. I think he played the Doctor in Doctor Who. So it's worth your time. If you wanted to listen to the audio one, I do believe BBC Sound has got it on there. So it might be something that's worth looking into, my dears. There'll be about another 14, 15 items here, which is good. Anyway, welcome to the fairies, and thank you for following, and thank you for the thumbs ups and finding us, and I hope you enjoy horror because you're in the right place. Another really good book, if you fancy having something a bit different to read at the weekend, is one by David Seltzer, who wrote The Omen. He also did one called The Prophecy, about a giant mutant bear that goes on a rampage and starts eating all the campers and the lumberjacks and anything else it can get its hands on, really. Well, why is it being driven mad? Could it be it's been poisoned? The doctor seems to think he has been. I've done a big long form video as well on The Prophecy, which is just mutant bears, absolutely terrifying, fantastic, horror. Well worth a visit to read that book. Of course, all the James Herbert books, Rats, Lair, Domain and The City, are also fabulous to read, and I've done all those in long form as well, reviews, so do check those out. If you really want to do nothing but cry your eyes out all weekend, may I recommend Watership Down. That's not for the faint-hearted, and it certainly shouldn't be a children's book, although it was marketed as a children's book. For the life in me, I will never understand. Another one that's very, very good is Tarka the Otter. Again, why that was marketed as a children's book is beyond me. It's not really a kiddie's book. Sorry, that was just something coming through for me. So yeah, if you fancy crying your eyes out this weekend, may I recommend Tarka the Otter and Watership Down. And if you really, really feel like having a crying session, don't forget to read Richard Adams' The Plague Dogs as well. Oh, because that really will just... Yeah, if all you want to do is sit and cry this weekend, may I recommend those 3 books. And if you're really into crying your eyes out with a terrible, sad children's book, then may I recommend Mrs. Frisbee and the Rats of Nim. That I read at school, and I'm not joking, I bawled my eyes out. And they made that into a children's cartoon. And if I remember rightly, Dom DeLuise did the voice acting for some of it. I'm not sure if Orson Welles was involved with that one or not. But yeah, Mrs. Frisbee and the Rats of Nim. I've even seen the cartoon version of that, and absolutely heartbreaking. These shirts are coming along quite nicely, aren't they? There's certainly like linen in this house, which is a good thing because linen's quite cooling actually in the summer. Just, you know, in case you're wondering what kind of shirts to wear, linen is very good and cooling for the summer. Richard Lewis, not to be mistaken with the actor, but the writer, that was his pen name, wrote 2 extremely good books, Spiders and the follow-on, which is called The Web. And 10 out of 10 for Spiders. We start off with the countryside of Kent, and it is an incredibly quiet countryside. There's nothing, not a sound, not a peep, no wildlife whatsoever. And you'd think that might make the gentleman that bought the house a little bit suspicious, but no, not at all. He's excited that he's bought an old farmhouse, and he spends the night there, intending to travel back to London the next day to move his entire household, his wife and everything they own, to this little countryside farm, idyllic farm that he's bought in Kent. And unfortunately, the poor man never ever gets to go home, because during the night he is besieged with giant man-eating spiders. He said, man-eating spiders again? I've got a thing for it, I must have. He goes to sleep and he wakes up with the unfortunate tickling sensation over his entire body, and if that wasn't enough to freak you out, then they start biting him and paralyzing him, ready to turn his vital organs to mush so that they can digest him more readily. And by the time the morning light is coming through the curtains, through the window, basically what's left on the bed is a half-eaten corpse. You have entered the nightmarish realm of Richard Lewis spiders, of which, for the 31 days of horror that I did last year for Halloween, where I chose 31 terrifying horror novels for your reading pleasure, spiders was one of them, and I did that in a long form video as a review. So if you fancy listening to spiders, that's also up on my long form videos. It's quite a lot. I've done over 2,200 long and short form videos, so there'll be something in there that'll grab your fancy. I'm absolutely positive. Yep, I'm absolutely positive you will enjoy. There are other books out there about Arthur Herzog. He wrote two very notable books in the 70s, one of them about killer bees that starred Michael Caine in the movie, and Catherine Ross, who was also famous for starring in The Stepford Wives, and they played a doctor and a young lady who worked at the United States American Air Force, and they are tracking a swarm of killer African bees as they descend upon a very sleepy little village, like township in I think it's California that they descend on. I remember rightly, I'll just Google the person that made the film. Right, the swarm. Oh, right, hang on, we're timed out. Irwin Allen. We always joke that if you are in an Irwin Allen movie, you're likely to either be in a towering inferno, suffering with a giant earthquake, being attacked by killer bees, maybe you're on a boat and you get hit by a giant rogue wave in the Poseidon Adventure. If Irwin Allen's involved, you're likely to be meeting your end sooner than you think. He was the master of disaster in the 70s and the 80s, and in certain circumstances in the 60s as well, where some of his films were made. He's just known for doing disaster flicks. He's just a lot of fun. He really is. He makes the impossible into a film, right? He did When Time Runs Out, when a giant volcano erupts on a little island in Hawaii, and it's just utterly stunning. I think that's, well, let me think, who was in When Time Ran Out? William Holden, Paul Newman, Jacqueline Bisset, James Goldstone, and it's just everything that you would want in a disaster of that magnitude. You're dealing with a ginormous volcano that's ripping through the island and is about to take out the entire Hawaiian village and the hotel, which has been built. Sorry, my hair is annoying me today. It's a bit ticklish. And yeah, its time is going to run out, because unfortunately, if they don't get off this island pretty quick and fast, and you know, and as fast as the little legs can carry them, or at least to the other side of the island, where they're going to have half a chance of surviving the pyroclastic flow that is heading their way from a giant volcano that's about to blow its top. And it's just such a good film, and it's an absolute Irwin Allen classic. So if you fancy not reading this weekend and maybe watching some wonderful disaster movies from years gone by, may I recommend When Time Ran Out. I think it came out, I'd like to think 1980. Yeah, about 1980. And say William Holden, fresh on the heels of starring in The Omen 2, Damien's teen years, the wilderness years. I always look at it like this. Do you remember Sue Townsend, who wrote Adrian Mole? And it's a very British thing, but she wrote Adrian Mole, and I look at The Omen 2, Damien's teenage years, and I kind of think that it's like if the devil's son had a diary, it would have been reading a lot like Adrian Mole, you know. So like, my dad's the devil, and I'm really suffering with anxiety and angst, and now I'm so nihilistic with my way of me thinking, and you know, I've got to be this teenager, and I've got to like, oh, my dad's putting so much pressure on me because he says I'm going to inherit the earth, and people are going to be worshipping me, and oh, and do I really have time for all this? I mean, you know, I'm just a teenager. you know, and that is the kind of entries I think will be going in the book if it was, if Adrian Mole was the devil's son. There you go. I'm just giving you a brand new kind of idea, right, that a writer could come up with, doing a bunch of diary entries just like Adrian Mole, but you know, if it was Damien, we could call it Damien Mole. Damien Mole, the wilderness years. Four left. That's good. Four left indeed. That's excellent. I think this is a shirt dress. I'm not sure, but I think it is. You must all enjoy ironing. At least my computer and the internet and everything is kind of stable now compared to how it was. Oh dearie me. I think we were having a very bad time this morning. Go. An unusual style, but I guess that's your thing and you like wearing that as a design. There we go. Lovely. Good. Oh, right. Oh. Personally, it's not my style, this, but if the customer likes it, then that's what the customer wants. If you fancy something that's a little bit bonkers, Harry Adam Knight, which is a pen name, wrote a book called The Fungus, and that is about mushrooms, of all things, taking over and attacking and killing the populace of London and the rest of the United Kingdom. It's a horror book that will literally grow on you. And it is probably one of the most unusual horror books I've ever had the privilege of reading. I've never read about mushrooms before destroying the humans. And it's not just, they don't just stop at the humans. They grow on cats and dogs and cows and sheep and pigs and birds and butterflies and caterpillars. And they don't stop there. They continue and they take over the streets and the trees and the lampposts and houses. And everything turns into mushroom. Everything goes into being mushrooms. And there is just one gentleman who is naturally immune to the whole mushroom disaster. And he's sent in to retrieve. They're hoping that he can find the scientist that caused all this, who also happens to be his ex-wife, which is even more bonkers. They've already got divorced, and he's searching for his children as well, because they were last seen alive living with his scientist's wife, and they seem to think that his scientist wife is responsible for the unleashing of the mushroom spore fungus. In fact, I think if it's still on, it'd be one of my playlists somewhere. I believe there is a review that I did on the fungus, and it is just absolutely bizarre. It's the apocalypse with, how did the tagline go for the book? The apocalypse with the fungi, as in like he's a fungi and it's like fungi, which is, you know, mushrooms, and it's just absolutely balmy, and it's such a fun read. Or if you fancy listening to in an audiobook form, it's worth it. Yeah, definitely. Right, I think we've got about 3 more, and then we are going to be done, my dears. I'd just like to thank you all for your absolutely stellar company today. You have been lovely, as always. And we're just going to do the last 3 items of clothing, and then jobs are good. Job's done. And I'm super duper proud, or I will be super duper proud when we finally get to the end of this lot. And you can just quite happily watch me iron. And I am absolutely fine with that. If you just want to just me to keep this going and just be there in the background, please feel free. Sorry, I thought it was a pair of shorts. My apologies. I'll put it the right way around now. Never mind. Oh dear. I think I need to go and get my eyes tested. Oh dear. Oh. They've been washed and dried like that. Dearie me. What a mess. What a mess. Can't do any better than I've already done. I'm quite happy with that. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, 14. That is good. out again. I do apologise. I'm still on it, so I'll see you upstairs later. Oh my God. Come on. better. Oh, that's two. Good afternoon to everyone that's joining us. Thank you for your thumbs up. Thank you very much for calling hi and subscribing. We do appreciate you being here. I knew that was going to happen. Sometimes customers bend hangers, and I don't know why they bend them the way that they do, but you would think that they were using them to divine water. Or something of that effect. Welcome to learn how to iron shirts. Come to the right place. And if you've got a roaring insomnia, you've also come to the right place. This will have you asleep in minutes. Right, so on this construct, I've worn it once, but then washed it, and ever since I've washed it, I can't get it iron dry. I can't get iron dry. It's just a nightmare to iron, and I thought, better to. But duty cost. Well, it says it's at TWD. Yeah. Plus, I think maybe a little. Tiny little and then content, but but I'm wondering, it's clean, but obviously it got washed, used to be clogged. Does it need to be fresh out of the washer and all that to make it easy? I reckon I should be able to very quick cycle. Well, it will be an obvious cases. This is weird things, but obviously when it's like that, things hang down, which when I bought it, they didn't obviously. But then when you wear it, it took up. So I'm thinking that that's not too. I think
nothing to worry about. It's just when it comes even at stuff I really find out. And then when I think I've done it, like I did it, I did it a few weeks ago, I was going, I'm going to go out with it, and I did it, and my brother was like, this was iron on the iron board, put it on, it was like this, I don't know, it's not too much, see what we can come up with. Thank you so much. See you later, love. She's awful.
Sleep like that. I've got an idea for that. hope you're enjoying watching me iron. Very nice of you to call, and thank you very much if you've already sent a thumbs up. We truly appreciate it. It's very sweet of you. Thank you. Do you enjoy ironing as much as I do? Thank you for calling. thumbs ups. You've been so lovely. Such a lovely company. We appreciate you being here. Three. Oh, oops.
something else just before. Goodbye. Thank you, Alan, for watching over me and another space note. And thank you very much for everyone who has just joined and has subscribed and liked and wants to be part of the fairy clan. See you later.